Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to break down the big controversy around Nestle's bottled water business. And according to our source material, this whole thing really kicks off with one single, kind of shocking idea.
This right here, this is the quote that started it all, from a former CEO of Nestle. The source argues that he basically believed water shouldn't be a right for everyone, but instead a product with a price tag. And that one idea, it's pretty much the blueprint for everything we're about to talk about.
So how exactly do you turn a philosophy like that into a business? Well, the source claims it's actually a pretty simple and, incredibly effective three-step process.
First, it all starts with a resource that's supposed to belong to all of us, right? Public water. And it's taken for next to nothing. Then it gets packaged up and sold right back to the public, but with a huge markup.
Just how huge are we talking about? The source alleges a markup of up to 3,000%. Let that sink in. And it claims this isn't just some theory. It's actually happening in places that are already in the middle of a crisis.
To back all of this up, the source points to several key examples, and they're often in regions that are already struggling with really severe water shortages.
Let's take California, for example. The source highlights a historic drought where regular people, families, were being told they had to ration their water. At the exact same time, it claims Nestle was pumping millions of gallons out of a national forest, supposedly using permits that had expired way back in 1988. From there, the source then takes us to Michigan, a state where the Flint water crisis really put the whole issue of water safety right at the front and center of everyone's minds.
So what's the alleged price tag for all this water? According to the source, it's just $200 a year. But what does that tiny fee actually buy?
Get this, that $200 annual fee allegedly grants the right to pump up to 400 gallons of water every single minute.
So, when you start to connect the dots between these case studies, the source argues that a very clear strategy really starts to come into focus.
So the argument from the source is basically that this isn't an accident. It's a deliberate strategy. Find public water, fight to keep access to it nearly free, and then turn around and sell it back to the public for an enormous profit.
And all of this, it really gets to the core tension of this entire debate. The source leaves us with one final, really powerful question. When it comes down to the absolute essentials of life, who really owns them? Is it corporations or is it all of us?